Okay, good morning. Welcome to Chaikin PowerFeed, your daily market digest. Today is Friday, July 6, 2018. I am your host, Dan Russo, Chief Market Strategist at Chaikin Analytics. You can check me out on Twitter, post some thoughts and ideas throughout the day there. I am at Dan Russo _CMT. PowerFeed TV brought to you today and every day by Chaikin Analytics in conjunction with StockCharts.com and StockCharts TV. You can sign up to receive Chaikin PowerFeed for free at www.chaikinanalytics.com/PowerFeed TV. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Diving right in, U.S. equities closed higher in a fairly quiet Thursday trading session. S&P 500 added about 90 basis points while the Russell 2000 and the NASDAQ outperformed. Treasuries are mostly weaker. With some more curve flattening. The 210 spread moved below 30 basis points for the first time since August 2007. Dollar was down on the euro cross, but better against the yen. Gold finished up about 40 basis points, and oil was lower following an unexpected U.S. inventory build. WTI settling down about 1.6%. Breadth on the New York Stock Exchange positive 2.9 to 1. Breadth on the NASDAQ was positive 2.2 to 1. And kind of as we get to the desk this morning, futures are pointing to a lower open. Moving right in here. So over the past week or so, the S&P 500 has held support at 2,700, still above the 200-day moving average. So we still have support in that 2,700 to 2,710 zone, then below that 2,658 to 2,675, which also encompasses the 200-day moving average at 2,671, 2,672. Resistance, 2741 is a level we've highlighted for a while. 2800 another level that we've highlighted for a while. Not much really changing here as the market chops around. It's a holiday shortened week, so I wouldn't expect to see too much of a change to the major themes that we have been seeing. Something I am keeping an eye on, though, Chaikin money flow indicator is on the verge of turning negative for the S&P 500. We turned positive in early May, and that preceded a nice break higher for the S&P 500. So the fact that we're turning negative here now, or on the verge of turning negative, is something we're going to watch closely. However, the RSI held the lower bound of bullish ranges. So from a momentum standpoint, we're still kind of where we want to be. So not enough to change our view that the S&P 500 is consolidating within the context of a secular uptrend, and the likely resolution is to the upside. But as always, we will let price dictate and keep an eye on what's going on there. So your market in a minute. PowerFeed subscribers will give you some thoughts and high-level commentary every day. So stocks rise ahead of the tariff deadlines. We are seeing some tit-for-tat tariff back and forth between the U.S. and China here this morning. On top of that, we're going to get U.S. jobs data on tap. Looking for nearly 200,000 non-farm payrolls, a slight decline from last month, but still pretty solid. Then we look at kind of the key sectors and themes and relationships that I like to look at in my note on Friday mornings for Chaikin Analytics subscribers. Something we're going to focus on today. It's something I look at every week, but it's top of mind for me today. Is are semis topping on a relative basis? And we'll get to why that's important. My industry in focus today for analytics subscribers, software stocks look like they're ready to run again. We have a few highlights there. As I said, futures do point to a lower open. So the major indices, look at this uptick we saw here. Looks like we saw some stocks shift out of neutral and into bullish for the Dow. Remember yesterday that was 1 bullish stock to 9 bearish stocks. Today it's 4. So that is an encouraging sign. Also seeing some improvement with the S&P 500 here, 82 bullish or very bullish stocks to 90 bearish or very bearish stocks. NASDAQ now nearly 2 to 1 in favor of the bulls as that index outperformed and just further skew to the bulls for small caps here. 552 bullish or very bullish stocks, 249 bearish or very bearish stocks, outperforming once again yesterday. Small caps up 85 basis points against the S&P 500's 38 basis points. Bonds did tick higher. Look at real estate, up 1.1%. 5 bullish or very bullish stocks. And when we get to the sector power bars, you'll see that they are now outperforming relative to the S&P 500. Our stock of the day comes from the very strong medical products group. It's one we've highlighted here before. From a group standpoint, STERIS PLC, ticker symbol STE, closed at 106.67, up 38 basis points, in line with the S&P yesterday. Has a very bullish power gauge rating due to very strong earnings performance, attractive financial metrics, strong price volume activity, and positive expert activity. So our four main factors get rolled up to come up with a very bullish power gauge rating, a strong trend in a strong industry. So as I like to say, we're fishing in the right pond. We can see at the bottom of the chart, the power gauge has been bullish or neutral for most of the past 12 months. Stock began to outperform the market in March and is now doing so intensely. Closer to oversold than it is to overbought. So from a tactical standpoint, this does look like a compelling spot to enter. We're going to keep an eye on money flow here. It has dipped into the negative. I don't like to see that. You know, I'd like to see green across the screen here as the ideal setup. But, you know, if we take a weight of the evidence approach here, STERIS does look compelling on the long side, especially as it consolidates around the $100, $105 level above the rising long-term trend line. We'll see if we can get this money flow indicator to turn positive. All else being equal, I like STERIS on the long side, ticker symbol STE. Think about adding that to the portfolio today. Sector tracker, checking out sector movement over the last 5 days. Healthcare, top of the list. That's being driven by devices and services. Utilities and real estate, rounding out the top three. Remember what I said. For 2 weeks now, I've been open to the idea of real estate bottoming relative to the S&P 500, and that does seem to be playing out. Technology moving into the top four. I like to see that. 26% of the S&P 500 is the technology sector, but there is something in semis that has me a little bit concerned. Not bearish, just concerned. We're going to keep an eye on it. Fins and energy at the bottom of the list to round out the groups. You know, industrials and materials seeing a little bit of a reprieve here in light, maybe a little bit of a sell the rumor, buy the news from the tariffs. We'll take a look and see if those two groups can rebound. Our industry in focus today, the NYSE Technology Services Group. You can see the power bar, 6 bullish or very bullish stocks, 5 bearish or very bearish stocks. This group has outperformed the S&P 500 by 7.36% over the past 6 months. Power bar measures future potential is strong with more bullish than bearish stocks. It's currently ranked in the middle of the road, number 10 of 21 subsectors. It has moved down 3 slots. Remember, over the past couple weeks, the momentum cyclical plays have been hit. These names certainly qualify. Some of the indicative stocks, VMware was a name that I highlighted about 2 months ago for Chaikin Analytics subscribers as a long idea. Popped last week on the Dell News. Facebook is a name I've called out on the long side. Accenture, just a great name in the services space. You know, can't go wrong owning any of these stocks with very bullish Chaikin power gauge ratings. Let's dig in on one today and walk through the process. And the one that I want to look at is obviously the one that's going to be very well known to everybody here. Facebook, ticker symbol FB, closed at 198.45, up nearly 3% yesterday. Has a very bullish Chaikin power gauge rating. Strong trend in a strong industry. Look, just because we know the name and know the product doesn't mean we're not going to go through the process the same that we always do. Power bar at the bottom of the screen here. Look at how it got you out back in February before the Cambridge Analytica news broke. Turned to neutral. Could have used that as an opportunity to sell the stock, and now we've turned bearish. We've turned bullish again back in May. Stock has been leading the market since the late April, early May timeframe, and now doing so intensely. And the stock is oversold based on our overbought, oversold indicator, while Chaikin money flow is intensely bullish. Stock is consolidating here in kind of the 190 to 200 level, above the rising long-term trend line. This is the setup that we look for here, right? A leading stock that is pulled back to support. It's oversold based on our overbought, oversold indicator. The market is in agreement with our model. A very bullish rating is met with a stock that is outperforming relative to the SPY. Facebook, we cannot argue with adding Facebook to the portfolio here and now. It's a name we all know. Everybody probably uses the product, or the majority of you do. Kind of the Peter Lynch view in his book, One Up on Wall Street. Look at the products that you use every day and think about if those make good stocks. Facebook is set up for a compelling entry point right here, right now at $198. Take a look at FB. Yesterday's movers and shakers in the S&P 500. What's trending? On the gainer side, I am excited to see these three semiconductor companies. Qorvo up 5.6% on an upgrade. Skyworks up over 4%. Qualcomm up nearly 4%. These are neutral stocks. Qualcomm has a very bearish rating. Fine, but you know the importance that I place on semiconductors as a group. They are 90%. The relationship of semiconductors to the SPY, that relationship is 90% correlated to the overall market. We're going to take a look at a little further that in a second. We want to see semis outperforming within the technology complex. It's a driver of the market. The same way copper is a barometer for the economy, I think semis are a barometer for the market. On the flip side, take a look at LB, a very bearish stock that underperformed yesterday. CF and MRO, neutrally rated stocks, maybe take a look at those. Question why you own them if you do. Now here, let's get into the semis debate now. Are semis topping relative to the market? This is the ratio of SMH, the VanEck Semiconductors ETF, to the SPY, the S&P 500. So semis relative to the market, and it does appear to be topping. I'm not a huge pattern guy, but if you want to, you can call this a head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulders. I don't put a lot of weight into that just because they're difficult to back test in my experience, but we are under the 200-day moving average. The RSI has made a series of lower highs as momentum wanes. Now we are closer to oversold, so we want to see a bounce here. And here's Chaikin money flow for the SMH, and it does appear to be fading. This relationship, this line on the chart right here, the black line, this is 90% correlated to the S&P 500. We want to see this going up and to the right. A breakdown here would have bearish implications for the market in general, in my view. As I said, software looks compelling. Here's the XSW, the SPDR S&P software ETF, and we can see it's been outperforming the market since the January-February timeframe. It's currently oversold with bullish money flow. Solid uptrend, retakes a rising long-term trend line. Everything looks compelling here. Some of the indicative names in the stock in the ETF that triggered buy signals today: CA, CVG, EVTC, and Manhattan. All of these stocks triggered buy signals in Chaikin Analytics today. So our Chaikin Analytics subscribers can certainly take a look and do some work on those names. And one of the names that I like that's a holding of this ETF is Fidelity National, ticker FIS. Has a bullish Chaikin power gauge rating, strong trend in a strong industry. Let's walk through the process. Power bar at the bottom of the screen here based on the ribbon. It's been bullish since May. Stock's been outperforming since May. So the market is in agreement with our model, and the outperformance is intensifying. Look at this money flow. Bullish money flow intensity, very bullish money flow. We have an oversold stock above a rising long-term trade line. Ticker FIS is my stock of the day in my morning note to Chaikin Analytics subscribers. I think you want to look at this one on the long side today. So now, as I said, as we always do, let's take a look at the sectors based on the power bars. Healthcare, technology remain in the top four, but look at what has crept up there. Utilities number 2, and now real estate outperforming relative to the SPY. This is pretty compelling. This is a theme that we highlighted 2 weeks ago. Real estate bottoming relative to the S&P 500. I was open to that. It's playing out. Bottom of the list, industrials and materials remain the same. Financials, second biggest group in the S&P 500. We want to see them get off the mat. Consumer staples, just kind of a perennial bottom feeder lately, perpetually in this bottom 4. Here's where we're looking for long ideas. Here's where we're looking to get names out of the portfolio and potentially look to open on the short side, just sticking to the process and walking through it like we do every day, like you hear me do on this show every day. And Chaikin Analytics subscribers get to read in my morning note every day. So just a quick reminder, I'm hosting a webinar on Tuesday, May 10th at 4:15 Eastern time. We're going to walk through my process. How you're going to look over my shoulder for about an hour or so and see how I use Chaikin Analytics to uncover winners on both the long side and the short side, regardless of the headlines, regardless of the choppiness to the market and the increased volatility. It's a repeatable process that I use on a daily basis to find my daily pick for Chaikin Analytics subscribers, whether it's on the long side or the short side. I encourage you to sign up at www.chaikinanalytics.com/Dan. Just want to shout out special thanks, as always, to StockCharts.com and StockCharts TV for hosting this show in the 9:15 slot every day. I hope that everybody has an amazing weekend. Happy Friday. Good luck trading out there, folks.